Mama Watias, yes, today we'll be doing a lot of reactions on social media. From social media, on the Supreme Court's decision. Now, essentially, Supreme Court had the ruling about a lot of people, I mean, Ghanaians, professionals, and the likes, etro or margin also. I am the pan because on say in semi say by a Ghana for MPC or Mobekasa because as some can say we Supreme Court we but this is one case as a Ghana obia air train adrian was all to me when say I mean people are getting fed up with some of the rulings that Supreme Court said there. So I saw a piece on Ghana Web nipakuna wa try ne feno Dr. John Baptist na papai atron sem watro article na me pese me read na Ghana for the ordinary Ghanaian on the street what they think, right? Into no say Tukono led Supreme Court selective justice is injustice in my view. Into what I say Chief Justice na friend Justice Tukono the Supreme Court na will lead in the said the omo ye selective justice na selective justice ne say ye na say asem ba maybe a wo de wo ka ye ho a ye di ma o ye na ba na won ka ye ho a ye ndi ma o na wo susu say sa de na Chief Justice no wo ye no injustice my main kind article no or say in my open letter to the Chief Justice CJ Gertrude Tukono dated 23rd October 2024 I have pointed out some previous Supreme Court rulings that puts the apex court in a very bad light. International answer na wotro sa article we no. Last month, Osanso tro article letter to the Chief Justice. As our article na wotro ye no. Wakache Chief Justice ne say rulings bi a wo mo no ama ende Ghana yenje judges enye den NDBM. Also, the reign of the CJ Eninyeboa saw skewed or seemingly selective rulings, including the most recent ruling by the Tukono-led Supreme Court to stay the ruling of Speaker Bagbin, which further buttressed the perception that the current Supreme Court is actively exercising selective justice to favor the governing MPP. To further develop this selective justice tag on the Supreme Court going on, it will make easy understanding for me to itemize a few of such unfortunate biased rulings of the Supreme Court. The reign of previous Chief Justice Eninyeboa retired and that of Chief Justice Tukono appear to many Ghanaians, including me, to be engaging in selective justice delivery by many are listed as follows. Intino, enye Chief Justice we pen a walk and wansem or the Eninyeboa and so I then aka ho. What say wo hwe Eninyeboa emre now ba behe sa Chief Justice we nso Justice Tukono emre a utumi hu ne se sankrofo tu yi omo aye rulings bi wo Ghana ha extremely controversial a o hia aseno MPP for ne yedi asema momo nti no obebobobo so ati ase case all can so that ankwankwanko yes say or attack sa keke one or say election petition in 2020 and I've told you for me I'll constantly speak against the Supreme Court in what they did in the election petition 2020 and posterity will judge them how they held the 2020 election petition. To say election petition in 2020, also the Supreme Court earned the unenviable name of unanimous FC7 following the unanimous decision in the election petition in 2021 brought by former President Mahama of the NDC. The chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jean Mensah, was shielded from mounting the witness box to testify why the multiple declarations of the presidential results in 2020 and be cross-examined by lawyers of the petitioner. Ghanaians have put this unanimous judgment behind us since then and moved on, but expect fair justice system for all. That's what I say election petition no ade a wo mo ye ne ntwa ye nanso ni na echi Ghana for e de ato mo echi a still assemble na ye ko Supreme Court eye baby a na nka assembly amba mo bi anye so wo ko Supreme Court da because ade na wo mo ye no de omo tre wo mo true colors but Ghana for e de nsem ne to echi NDC for nya assembly a still Supreme Court na na tre say omo susu say at least say no na mo ye bone kra na we no sebe mo be na papa we no sanso ka say peaceful resting of past anti-LGBTQAI plus bill. Also, Ghanaians clearly indicated that they wanted activities of the LGBTQAI plus in the country to be checked. Thus, they massively support the passage of the anti-LGBTQ AI plus bill by both the NPP and NDC in Parliament. But the presidency refused to receive the passed bill and asked Parliament to cease and desist from transmitting the bill to President Akufo-Addo for signing it into law. To further the passage of this anti-gay bill, an interlocutory injunction application was brought to the Supreme Court, and it has been resting peaceful till date. The life of the 8th Parliament is about to expire in about 2 months, and this bill may not see the light of day. Is the Supreme Court interested in protecting the wish of majority of Ghanaians in this LGBTQA+ matter, or interested in satisfying the interest of the NPP government? TNN LGBT case. Ba at the Supreme Court. And you see the funny thing about LGBTQ case when they say Parliament we ekemu not new governments bar, they have to start the process all over again. Into processes are Sam George mo go through one into basically no Supreme Court adia wa mo ye no ye ne de ekuma de ne keke into no and a branch na eka say die ntia na de aga na for dodo na e support mo ye ade say or say birth certificate ruling and also ade ankrofo bebre aka now say under the tenure of Chief Justice Eninyeboa, it was also ruled by the Supreme Court that birth certificate, which is the primary document for determining citizenship, should not be a proof of citizenship in Ghana. The NPP was strongly against the use of birth certificate by Ghanaians to register for the 2020 general elections. The adverse ruling by the Supreme Court regarding the birth certificate also appeared to aid what the NPP's regime wanted to be done then. This ruling of the Supreme Court has not yet passed common sense test, in my view. So, person say Supreme Court birth certificate ruling no sebe si say the common sense to wa e idea e fairly a common sense test. I say not ruling. I say after the NDC parliamentary candidate for Assin North constituency, Honorable James Jachikwesin won the seat convincingly in the 2020 general elections, he was hounded by the NPP to remove him by using the Supreme Court to achieve their political goal of gaining absolute majority in Parliament. The fundamental issue of denying the people of Assin North was not considered at all by the Supreme Court then, but in the case of the pending case on the 4 embattled MPs, CJ Tukonot categorically stated that people in those affected constituencies will be left without representation in Parliament. This leads to the people of Central Kofi, Akpafu, Likpe, and Lolobi, who were intentionally left out by the EC to have a representation in the 8th Parliament of Ghana. Inti Utrea, Assin North dia wokan, say, na NPP epe majority ewo Parliament inti, Oshede omode ye Assin North ye yama ye omo MP Jachikwesin efri ho. Nanso eduru ono Jachikwesin dia ne de yankasa wo ne nkrofo omonya eye representation. Yankasa ne nkrofo onya representation. Nanso edu MPP for eso die nanse ya for MPC no. Asemo aye kan se o omo nkrofo enya representation. Nanso ne ye na refri Central Kofi ene Likpe for. Ati ase eno nso ne way ya okan ode kan asem. And then again, Wasanso Ebo SALL ruling. Also, on the eve of the 2020 general elections, the Electoral Commission stopped the people of SALL in the OT region as a region known to strongly support the NDC. This was done by the current EC to deprive the people of SALL to elect their MP to represent them in the 8th Parliament. The Supreme Court never acted with the urgency and fairness to ensure the SALL people were represented to date. This move was also in the interest of the governing NPP because of fear of losing their slimmest majority in the 8th Parliament. Supreme Court's ruling to stay Speaker's information on 4 vacant seats in Parliament. It was interestingly, when Right Honourable Speaker Alban Bagbin categorically ruled that the 4 seats in Parliament be vacated for breaching Article 97(1)(gh), and Minority Leader, now Honourable Afenyo Makin, ran to the Supreme Court to stop the Speaker's ruling in the matter. Surprisingly, the 5-member Supreme Court, led by CJ Tukonu, acted with the speed of light to stay Speaker's ruling to allow the affected MPs to take part in the parliamentary business, causing the parliamentary tsunami we are witnessing now. This is a clear show of bias towards the governing NPP caucus and undermining the independent arm of government, the legislature, as well as the NDC majority caucus in Parliament. In today's majority ruling of the Supreme Court 5-2 in the matter led by Tukonu bench as unconstitutional, it is for Ghanaians to internalize the true meaning of Article 97 1G and H affecting the 4 MPs in Parliament. Now, conclusion. In my above given 6 examples of rulings by the Supreme Court under the tenure of CJ Eni retired and that of CJ Tukonu, there appears to be consistently selective justice delivered, and this supports the assertion that Supreme Court is not delivering justice enough, but selective justice. This is highly worrying. It is thus concerning that the reputable Mo Ibrahim Foundation underscored that there has been 30% drop in the impartiality of Ghana's judiciary. This independent body's verdict on Ghana's Supreme Court should be a great worry to the current Chief Justice Tukonu and the bench at large, isn't it? I strongly believe that fairness is key to justice delivery, but not selective justice, which breeds injustice in the end. Ghanaians deserve better from the apex court of the land. We must focus on the bigger goal of making Ghana a better country for Ghanaians. Let's choose the right leadership in the upcoming general elections to clean up the mess of the disappointing Akufo-Addo-Bawumia-led government. And so that is what this article is all about. Say the Chief Justice led Supreme Court on selective justice in his view, and the person's name is Dr. John Baptist Na. So that's quite interesting. Montreal Mwadwin, comment box ni